Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome.
Today we wanted to touch on brain health and just how to nurture and really embrace our health when it comes to the complexity of our brain. It's such a vital and important aspect when we think about our lifestyle, all of these all these factors that really contribute to our life, like sleep and movement and exercise. And so we really just want to talk about what are the things that can support us in that and what things work against us when we're talking about this, right? So when you think about brain health for you, what are some of the things that you truly believe support us in our brain?
Oh, I think there's a lot of things like that. And I think all these small things that people call them small, they matter the most.
Yeah.
What is the most important thing? What you can do continuously. Because if you do something one time, it's not going to have a huge impact. Of course, some of the things like drugs or something might have an impact right away. But if we're talking about these things like sleep, our diet, or something like whatever you can do continuously, that matters. I believe that sleep plays a big role, not even for myself personally. For me personally, sleep is very, very important. I have to have decent amount of sleep, like decent amount of hours of sleep where I'm not going to function at my best. So there's actually one research, Tony Robinson presented that, the time when we switch our clocks, like 1 hour, like going
daylight savings time.
Yeah. So there's a research like for heart attacks, like when we lose that 1 hour of sleep, when we switch it, the percentage of the heart attacks increases on that day around like 30%.
That's insane.
And that decreased by 20% that time when we switch it to when we have 1 hour more of sleep. So that's crazy, right? Like we have data for that. And people we still saving on our sleep. So that's definitely a thing. Also, nutrition and everything that you put into yourself, that matters. Not only nutrition, but like, as I said, drugs, what you smoke, what you drink, everything, all of this matters. Also, your thoughts. I believe it has a huge impact. And I wouldn't say that it's less important than your nutrition. I think that it's even more important.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, your emotions, everything what's going on inside you, everything has an effect on the brain because it's such a complex organ. It rules everything.
Yes.
And when we're talking about the brain health, like what do we have in mind? Are we talking about our vision, about our cognitive function, about what are we talking about, right? And depending on that, different aspects might have a bigger or less effect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when I think of brain health, I think of like your lifestyle, right? And you touched on different aspects of our lifestyle, but really starting to like reflect on what part of my lifestyle is like not benefiting me, is not contributing to me living a healthier life and doing the things that I want to be doing. And it does, and the reason we're talking about brain health is it starts in the brain. Like if you're having negative thoughts, if you're having problems in your relationship, if your stomach, if you're like you feel like your stomach is in discomfort all of the time, right? If you're gaining weight that you want to get rid of, like all of these problems are really at the root cause of the brain, emotionally and physically.
Because from the quantum physics field, the brain is observer. The brain is something with what you observe things. And before observing, nothing exists.
Yeah.
So you have to have this thought that, oh, my stomach hurts. To understand that, right? Like you have to observe that to be able to feel that. So brain health is definitely a topic which is very, very wide. And I think we have to narrow down like what do we want to talk about more? Because I think that even the smallest thing is like, for example, how do you start your morning? Do you grab your phone or do you start a gratitude journal? It's gonna have a huge impact for your brain.
Yeah.
And of course, we have different waves, right? Like alpha, theta, delta, and stuff like that, which matters, and our brain functions differently during these times. And I think that if we want to achieve optimal brain health, we have to understand what does our brain need, because a lot of cognitive function, they might be related with other parts of the body, not only with your brain. Yeah, brain plays a huge role, but a lot of like ADHD symptoms or like anxiety and something that might not start only in the brain.
Yeah,
there might be a lot of dysfunctions in other parts of your body or disbalances that would create this feeling. Yeah. So we cannot blame brain for everything, but it's definitely one of the organs that we want to focus on.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to focus on today was like, how do we support that functioning so that these other aspects of our lives, there is a sense of like growth, there is a
Yeah.
sense of happiness and contentment. And kind of going back to the sleep, I think sleep is one of those things that there's so it's so controversial, right? Because everybody has their own idea of like a healthy sleep. You see all of these different research that tells you, 8 hours of sleep is good, or no, you got to sleep a little bit less, so 6 hours is good, right? And so, and it kind of goes back to the idea that everybody's body is different,
Absolutely.
right? And depending on like what you need, that's really going to impact like how your brain
And
functions.
also with these like, oh, scientific research or something, a lot of people reading researches on the surface level, you have to understand what kind of group of people have been researched on. And you cannot only read conclusion, what that research states, that because a lot of people do that when we see a lot of articles on Google or any kind of magazine. They say like, oh, scientific state that, or whatever, scientists state that this, or that.
Yeah.
But we cannot read only conclusion because that research might not be applicable for your body, right?
Mhm.
So we have to understand how they form groups, what kind of group was researched. Like there's a lot of gray areas.
Nuances.
Yeah, and a lot
Yeah.
of nuances that you have to understand before stating like, okay, this is what's happening. And
Yeah.
also statistics is a different topic.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing to really look at is the biological aspects of the brain health and then the emotional aspect. So when we're
They matter equally.
no, they matter equally, right? I'm just saying that these two are in two different
Yeah.
categories, right? And so with the biological aspects, I would look at eating patterns, sleep patterns, and just also like your dieting, right? Or I guess it's the same thing as eating patterns, but those are the two aspects that I would really start to look at is like where are you on the scale for that? And what I mean by that, the scale being like I get really poor, I'm doing really poor in this area, or I'm doing really great in this area. And it's a spectrum, right? If you were to scale it from 0 to 10, really starting to identify like how great is your sleep? How many times are you waking up? Do you experience a lot of nightmares? And when it comes to your eating habits, like, do you feel good after you eat? Do you feel energized? Do you feel as though you're bloated all the time or you're having constipation, right? Like what what is the eating habits contributing and how good do you feel after that?
And talking about brain health, a lot of like, of course, we can find whatever we want to on the internet, and you can find like, oh, keto is great for the brain.
Yeah.
Some people say that, oh, we need to have glucose. That's a main food for our brain, right? So I think that there's no perfect diet
No.
that we can apply for everyone. That's why I'm not a believer of like, oh, this supplement's gonna do this or that. It's impossible to create something that works for 8 billion people in the world, depending on our hormone system, depending on our nervous system, depending on our health, like on everything, right? Like it's impossible to make something that works for everyone and state that, oh, this is what you should do. I don't like that statement. So that's why I think that even talking about the diet, you have to, if keto works for you, go for it.
Yeah.
If you like sugar, go for it. I mean, like, there's no perfect way how you can work on that.
Yeah.
And I think that nutrition, it definitely like it plays a huge role because what you put inside, we know how external factors might have an impact for our health, right? But what's going on inside it has even bigger effect, right? So talking about the diet, it was as we talked, we have to understand if that diet doesn't create a lot of stress for us. Yes. So if that calorie counting, if that micronutrients counting puts you in the stress position, it's not going to be beneficial anymore because you have to find where you're going to meet that needs with your nutrition and your wants. So this is, I believe, the intuitive eating is the most beneficial way. But to build that, that might take some time.
Yeah.
You might not be able to feel intuitively what your body needs right away.
Yeah.
So you might need to go to that diet culture, like fasting, keto, carbs cutting, calories counting. There's a lot of different ways, right? So to feel intuitively what your body needs, it might be a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also too, when we support our brain health, we're also taking into account that we're going to need some sense of accountability to do all of this, right? Whether it be like self-will, where you're keeping yourself accountable, or there's other things that are keeping you accountable. Because I'm just thinking, even with like the calories and the eating and, you know, trying to change your diet, like you might need a nutritionist
Absolutely
to help you with that,
yeah
right? You might need a trainer to help you lose the weight that you're wanting to lose. And I'm even thinking about me, like something that I'm doing right now is, you know, I am trying to track how much I'm eating and just to understand a little bit about what is going in my body, and just using assistance with that, right?
Absolutely.
And so I remember I heard this idea where we think of our brain as like just our brain, right? Obviously, but there's this thing that when you use other things to help you manage your brain health, it's almost like you have a second brain. And what I mean by that is that when you are active in journaling and making to-do lists, that is your second brain. Like that is a sense of accountability, and you're actually assisting in some way because there's a lot going on, right? We're thinking about different things. And so using these different accountability tools, like a schedule, like reminders, like notifications, like people are a great source of accountability. And they're also a great source of like supporting our brain health.
Absolutely. And I think that it's very important talking about the people to notice how do you feel around them. Like that can be a lot of conditions there, right? But to notice how do I actually feel when I'm with that person.
Yeah.
And if you start thinking this way, you will feel it. You will understand your body definitely going to show you a sign what it actually means to you. Because you know, like if you feel drained after being with someone, like if you're like, damn, I just want to lay down, I don't want to do nothing. That can be a red flag.
Yeah, that's so
And
true.
we have to separate and understand, like, is this that person? Is this the activity that we did? Like, what's causing that? But for your brain health, to understand what actually brings you joy and energy, that's a thing that you have to do. Then you will understand what you need to do for your specific brain. Because, you know, if you look at the Instagram profile that says like, oh, use this diet and you're gonna reverse your aging, whatever, biohacking or something, it might not work for you. And then you might feel disappointed. And that this is not good for your brain health, right? So I think that anything in medicine, anything with any kind of advice, it has to be personalized. And I really don't like all of these like accounts or something which puts the filter on everyone. Hey, you have to do this or this or this or that. You use this biohacking tool, use this diet, work out this way, eat this. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why, but for me, it kind of creates like, no.
Yeah.
No already. Because if you can to make everything so global, it's impossible to fit everyone. So it can help on the surface, but it's not going to hit that target that we're trying to hit.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I think that if you want to change your brain health, I think the start's supposed to be your morning routine. What do you do in the morning? First thought that you wake up. For the way that you wake up, what kind of alarm do you use? Do you use this iPhone alarm, which actually puts you into like fight or flight mode right away? Or do you use something which, for example, sunlight, like, you know, these specific alarms and stuff? And for example, I noticed a huge change when I use my iPhone as an alarm, right? You have your phone like on the cabinet in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Or you use this specific alarm with like bird sounds and like that fake sunset imitation, right? I noticed a huge difference.
Interesting. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's something that I definitely want to change because it is very alarming.
It's alarming, like, you know,
and it shocks the
this
system.
kind of default alarm, like in the iPhone. Damn, it looks like something is happening, right?
Yeah.
You wake up and you're already on fight or flight. But if you wake up with that bird sound or the sunset like imitation, and I like it. It's just like we did this mode where 10 minutes before, like for example, if my alarm, let's say 5:30, right? This is when I usually wake up, or 5:30. So your sunset, it starts like 10 minutes before, and you kind of starting to waken up because there's more light in the room. You start noticing these birds and like kind of noises, and then you wake up slowly. Like it takes you through these waves. But if you wake up with this alarm, like for me, I didn't even understand that before I changed my alarm. And that was actually because of my partner. I didn't have that thought.
Yeah.
But it was his birthday, and I knew that he wanted that specific alarm, you know, like for some time, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy two. Now I'm like, I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have seen that before of like, I see it mainly with kids of like them putting some music on so that they have time to wake up, right? Instead of like shaking them and waking them up abruptly, like, hey, you need to wake up now. I think it is a good way to ease into the day and allow your body to really get up naturally, right?
Absolutely.
And I love what you talked about too of like, I think checking our phones immediately when you wake up, that's also like an adrenaline shock
It's, and you know,
because you're stressing yourself
Yeah.
out when you're looking at either emails, right?
social media, like
Social media.
you put the focus somewhere. Like if you look on the news, you're gonna see something that you don't like.
Yeah.
Someone killed, some kind of disaster happened. No one writes it in news like, oh, the weather today was so beautiful. You know,
Yeah.
like you wake up and you already put the focus somewhere.
Yeah.
And where you focus on, it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
That's basically a law, right? If you look at the social media, you already start comparing, looking like, oh damn, she has this. Oh my god, I love this outfit. I would love to buy this or that. There's already unworthiness or something. Like if you watch news, you're not gonna feel good.
And if you need a little bit of that, because I have noticed like that anxiety sometimes, like I trick myself that it helps me wake up, but in reality, it's like we need a motivator that's gonna wake us up. And so hold on. And so instead of looking on social media, what I do now to have that sense of motivation and really get up is I start thinking about my day and what I want it to look like, right? Not the stress of what I have going on, of what I'm excited about, what I'm looking forward to, what I imagine doing that day that feels really good to me.
For me, I found that very great tool to improve my brain health was to imagine the day, how it's gonna look like, what I'm gonna do. You can think about the day, you can think about your life in general, because I think about the day first. Like, okay, today is gonna look this way, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna feel this way, I'm gonna be so happy in something, I'm gonna see this client, I'm gonna do this or that. And then I can go to that, okay, but my life, like I see myself in this beautiful home where I want to live. Like, you know, you start kind of manifesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just kind of imagining like you already living, and brain usually is the first place which lives that reality that you want to live.
Yeah.
You have to create that.
You almost start romanticizing your life. Like, oh, I want to get up. I want to go do that. Right. Like that sounds exciting. And I think when we think about excitement, and motivation, it's very much connected to dopamine. Right. And that is the substance or the chemical that really gets us up and going, that really creates that glow and just happiness and almost that sense of connection with ourselves and to anything around us. And so the more dopamine in healthy ways that you can create in your life, the easier it's going to be to do these different things
for yourself.
You can create it for yourself, and it's very easy, right? A lot of people get the main purpose why people are addicted to drugs and alcohol is because it gives them a high sense of dopamine.
Absolutely,
right? So when you're not able to create that on your own, then you're gonna look for external sources. That might be medication, that might be food. People really turn to food to get a sense of dopamine, which is good, but what other ways outside of that are you creating it? A really, really easy way to hack some dopamine like immediately is to create a to-do list and start checking things off, right?
You know,
as you check it off,
write it down what you already done just to check it out.
Yes.
Not see that.
Not and it's something that I try not to do it as much, but something that I'm like, oh, I know I'm about to do it, so let me write it down so I can check it off.
You know, but for example, another tool that works super nice for me is meditation. For my brain, that was a game changer. I started meditating years ago. Like, and that's part of my morning routine. And I feel the difference. Like, for example, sometimes when I wake up, like, and I have a meeting in the morning or something, like, you know, you don't make time for that. I feel the difference in my day. Do you meditate?
I used to, and I feel like it's kind of gotten out of my practice. So I want to start that
because I try to switch between like different meditations. Like you can do guided meditation, you can do transcendental meditation, like walking meditation, doesn't matter, right? I'm trying to switch between them, just not to get used to something.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a game changer. When I started meditating, the flow of my thoughts, the organization of my thoughts, it changed. And it helped me to understand a lot about myself and everything. So for my brain health, that would be one of the top things that I
because you're learning to sit with yourself and actually hear your thoughts and attune to them, right? Like right now that I start, for me, yoga has really just drastically improved my
Good for
brain
you.
health, where I'm thinking a lot faster. I feel more connected. I feel as though like just more energized and more clear. Right. And something that they have us do at the end of every yoga practice is we do a sense of meditation. And that's kind of to end the day. But as I'm hearing you talk, like I do want to incorporate more of like a morning one, or more of like a early meditation, like start to the day, so that your thoughts do become organized, and you give that time to yourself. It's saying, I'm important. Before I start anything else, I'm going to prioritize me and my emotions, and my thoughts, and so that I can actually start the day and make space for other things.
Exactly what I do, what I learn over time with my practice, with my studies. Like, I'm studying, working like all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I have to have this mental capacity because I'm trying to solve very, very difficult, like complex diseases and situations and everything. So
Yeah.
I have to have this mental capacity. And over time, my routines kind of change because I always, in the morning, I create space for myself. Like, even when I know that I have to leave earlier, let's say, I will wake up earlier
Yeah.
just to make
Same.
sure that I have this my morning routine, which might contain my chi. I go to the gym, I meditate, I go for a walk. I have to have my cup of coffee and breakfast and everything. That creates that sense of like, yeah,
Foundation.
that's foundation. That's my. This is where I build my energy, right?
Yeah.
To be able to give it to someone.
Yes.
And
yeah,
that's
same. I feel like I need 2 hours before I do anything else that's just for me. Whether it's me sitting down and journaling, looking at
And
what I got going for the day.
it can be social media scrolling if this is what you need.
Sometimes it
Yeah.
can be just anything that allows me to connect with me first and
Yeah.
fully allow my brain to wake up, right? Something I was doing, and this is actually really prime for brain health, is if you can't take a walk, just simply going outside and allowing like that natural sunlight, like you exposing yourself to that natural sunlight, because that helps your brain adapt and actually wake up in a more natural way.
The way that like in the morning and in the evening, this time is the most beneficial for you to be in the sunlight.
Yes.
And it creates a huge difference.
Yeah. And as even you think about, I didn't think about the sun, not sunrise, sunset, the sun setting, it actually primes your brain to say, hey, we need to get ready for bed. Like we need to start winding down. Something that has really improved my sleep is I didn't know I did this until my fiance pointed it out, but I actually have a routine.
Yeah.
Like I didn't naturally, not even planned. It's something that like my brain, my eyes are like, ooh, it's too bright. Like I need to turn it down. So I'll turn on a lamp, right? But just really setting yourself up to trigger this response of, it's time to go to sleep, getting into your pajamas, doing your face routine, right? Brushing your teeth, all of these different things that really prime you to go to sleep. So just how we're talking about priming ourselves to wake up, there's priming yourself to go to sleep.
Absolutely. And both of them equally matters. What you do is going to have a huge effect for your brain health. And I think that we have to cover one thing that is very big right now about the supplementation, like all the supplements for your brain health and stuff. What are your thoughts about that? Do you use something for yourself?
Yeah, so I think in the past I was really gun-ho about supplements because I didn't have a lot of knowledge about what they are and how it works. And once I started to recognize that a lot of what I was doing was substituting for the real thing. And that's where my thoughts are now, is that I don't want to substitute. I still want to eat whole foods and really get as much natural supplements as possible. And then add things that maybe my body has a hard time making or that I need a little bit more of. But I don't rely on supplements anymore.
Okay, that's an interesting thought, because for me, how I see that, and a lot of my patients, they found it very, very odd, because I don't think that we have to use some supplements. And I'm not a person who's going to tell, oh, take this, and this and that. This is for your brain health. This is for your gut. This is whatever. This is antioxidant. Because whatever you give for the body for a long, long, long time, your body is so smart, it's going to stop to make it.
Yeah.
Put it a lot of antioxidants all the time, like everyone's doing that. Juice and vitamin C and glutathione, like a lot of these antioxidants, right? You give it for your body gonna stop making it. So I definitely believe that there are conditions when we need some kind of supplementation. But the question that we have to ask is, why does your body react this way? Why is your body lacking it? Is it a diet? Is there imbalances in absorption, in elimination? Like why? Where is the cause? Why are you not taking the supplement, right? Back in Europe, there's a saying, like there's a joke that when I speak in conference and everything, when you talk with specialists, everyone has a joke that Americans has the most expensive urine because they take so many supplements.
That's funny.
Without knowing what is it for, without knowing how it absorbs in the body, so everything goes out. Like,
oh my God, that's hilarious.
There's a thing like that. So it's kind of funny, but of course we gain knowledge this way. You might need some kind of practitioner who's going to tell you that, oh, you need these different supplements for your body because you're not getting enough with food, for example. Or you might meet someone who's going to tell you like, no, you don't need it. You can deal with energy or with thoughts. So again, I'm getting back to my point where I always gonna have that you make a decision what you're gonna get before you go there. Yeah. So I think there are conditions when we might need some supplements, right? But I don't think that everyone should use it. So sometimes we have to use something, but it's not for everyone, not for the whole life. I don't believe in that.
And really educating yourself around this, because I think a lot of the times we use supplements because either the doctor told us, a friend is sharing with us that they're taking all of these different supplements. You hear ads on them. And so I think a lot of people take supplements blindly. At least I did. I remember that it was supposed to be good, so I should be taking it, right? Anything that's supposed to be good, I'm just going to hop on that because it should benefit me in some way. And a lot of the times we don't know that you might not need it. And two, it can actually be creating challenges that you might not even be aware of. And so I think really educating yourself around like what this means and getting information from a practitioner that shares your beliefs and values.
Because first of all, as a practitioners, we always have to look for that specific person to his beliefs and values. But we have to kind of reverse the order, because right now what people do, like, oh, I feel bloated, I'm gonna buy the supplement which you can name whatever, like for unbloat myself. I'm not feeling bloated anymore while I'm using the supplement. But what are you doing here? Like, are you just trying not to see that? Like, what's your intention? If you just don't want to see that you're bloated, okay, let's buy a supplement, I guess. But if you want to figure out why you're bloated, the supplement is not going to help you. Like, what are you looking for? Because a lot of supplements, like for example, for brain fog, you see a lot of ads and everything like, oh, you feel brain fog? Drink this mushroom coffee or do this or that. Maybe just look why you have this brain fog. Maybe just think like, why do you feel like what's going on here? Why do we need that mushroom coffee to be able to be focused, right? So I think that's the case. Because of course, to make you feel better, it's easy. To modify condition that you're having, it's easy. Not the easy part is to find out why do you have this condition, to what your body is reacting this way. And bloating, like for example, we started talking about the bloating, and we know that gut health is definitely related with our brain health. And there's another thing, like we live in LA, which is very wellness oriented city, right? And right now we live in the time when everyone goes on juice cleanse, drink smoothies in the morning, eat salads, eat bowls, a lot of cold food and stuff. All of this creates bloating. This is not how your digestion tract, Bill. So you drink smoothie in the morning, you do juice cleanse, and then you eat salad, which is cold food again, a lot of fiber and everything, and then you bloat it. So then you take supplement, right, to mask it. And then again, next day you do the same. First of all, if you want to stop being bloated, start to drinking hot water in the morning.
And I think what you're touching on is like really understanding the root cause of these things.
I'm always going to be about that. So
yes. And I think that's so important, and really being intuitive. Like the whole supplement thing, I didn't do any research on it, but I realized I'm like, I can make a lot, like my body can handle these things. My body can make these things, right? So like intuitively, I already don't like taking medicine.
And you
I
know,
don't like taking certain things.
intuition about your body, 99% of the times are going to be right. If you know
Yeah.
how to listen to it. Because when people come to see me, I always ask them like, hey, bring the supplements that you're using. If you're using something, we can definitely test them to see how your body reacts to that. For example, if you have some kind of liver inflammation, just make sure that it's not creating even more inflammation and
Yeah.
stuff. And people tend to bring like bad supplements. And like,
Wow.
you know, I'm like, damn, you have to have an extra hour for your day just to make it order. Like, how you're going to drink all of this during the day. But that's not the part. What I wanted to say, it's like, I check it and I say like, hey, this is creating more inflammation for your liver. And they're like,
Yeah.
I knew it. Like, you know, I felt this way. So that's the thing. Like, if you have this intuition about something,
Is there
listen
a
to it.
supplement that is pretty universal that most of us should be taking?
No, I don't believe
Okay.
so. I
What
mean,
about vitamin D?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
I think, yeah, a lot of people lack of vitamin D. But first of all, let's see why your body is not absorbing vitamin D
Yeah.
or why you like vitamin D.
Yeah.
And try to build it in a different way. Sometimes, of course, again, as I said, some conditions we need supplementation.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in any kind of recommendation which is starts for everyone should.
And I think also too, again, without making this very black and white, I know that you're having a really hard stance on like, I don't think you need supplements. And maybe that's not your stance all the time, right?
Oh, no, not all the time.
But I'm also thinking about like I think with the supplements, there's probably periods of time where you might need certain supplements just
Absolutely.
to get you back to a functional
Yeah.
level, but not forever. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm hearing for you is like, no, you don't need to be taking these supplements for 20, 30 years.
Yes, exactly.
You can take them at a certain time when there's maybe more chronic stress, or your
Oh,
body's
yeah.
going through a lot, or you just fought off cancer, whatever the case is,
Yeah.
right? That you might need to supplement
Absolutely.
to get you to that normal function.
Again, there are conditions where we need that. Definitely. For some time, we might change it, but it's not something that we have to take for 30 years.
Right.
And again, like when it starts, everyone should.
Yeah.
There's already gap somewhere.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
definitely a lot of conditions has to be supplemented. Like, of course, we need supplementation in some case, and especially when we're talking about the brain health, right? And
Yeah.
to make a change, to decide to see the practitioner, some people might need even help with that at first to be able to get off of that supplement, right?
Yeah.
So every condition is different. I just don't believe that there is something that everyone should do.
Yeah.
Because everyone is such an individual that it's, and again, my stand is always going to be that find why you feel this way. If that supplement's going to find you the way, like to understand, to gain the knowledge why you feel this way, why do you lack this specific substance? Of course we can do it. And a lot of supplements can be very, very beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this conversation was great. And I love that you're able to really bring in that biological aspect and like understanding of the organs. And especially because this is something that you work with day in and day out, especially when it comes to like the supplements and what people are bringing. So yeah, this was good. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Because I did.